So it is crazy o'clock in the morning. Oh my god. There's a certain point when you hit where you're like, this was probably a bad idea to try to make your first brick film in 24 hours for the contest. If you like brick filming, you're going to want to watch this. I think they call it THACumentary. Definitely some lessons learned, which I will post at the end of the video. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's a few minutes after 7 a.m. here, which is the start of THAC in this time zone, and the theme is perspective. The mod colors are green and yellow, and the letter Q. Now, I don't mind the letter Q. Obviously, whatever letters come up, I can kind of probably work with it. But green and yellow are going to give me a bit of trouble because, like, I have this green guy here, and then there are obviously yellow in the minifigures. There's a little bit yellow here, but like 1, 2, 3 green pieces. So that's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge for me filming, because either A, I have to go with like a character like this with this guy here, or I guess this guy here, or maybe this guy here, you know, if I use his leg or something. Obviously their heads or whatever, but I don't have a lot of green. Like, that's all the green I have, so I'll have to figure that one out, because I could probably stick something yellow on the alien. Like, obviously it's Lego, you can rebuild it into whatever you want, but yeah, I don't have a tremendous amount of green stuff to just be like randomly without having to like disassemble and reassemble a whole bunch of different parts. So that's gonna be interesting. But perspective is the first thing. Let's worry about getting the script down. I got 2 hours or under 2 hours to write it and send it off to the voice actors as I sort of try to figure this out. But I have to keep, you know, the idea in my head that I have to film this, and I need to film this, you know, with these mod elements in there. So we'll see. I got a little rover dude here. Maybe stick something on him, I don't know, but I was kind of hoping for like orange and something, or blue and something. That's sort of the colors I was kind of going for. Obviously like gray and white or black and white or something like that would have been, you know, easy peasy. But yeah, probably the worst two colors from what I currently have. Nothing against the organizers, you know, it's a random color, who knows, but I do have a little bag of like little one-on-one rounds here, or whatever you call them. So I'm not stuck for mod elements. It's just going to be how awkward is that mod element going to be in each shot. But my goal was to try to make it the least awkward as possible. But we'll see how things go. Alright, I'm going to sign off for now, and probably check back in about 2 hours. So we're 3 hours into THAC, and the script is done. I originally planned 2 hours, and it took me 3. I hope that's not how the rest of this is going to go, because I might run out of time. The whole script is 3.5 pages, which means it's going to be about 3.5 minutes worth of actual video. I might be overreaching a bit, but I have 1 or 2 scenes where I could nick them if I need to, and make a couple adjustments. But I definitely need the words down, because I sent it to the voice actors, and they have 2 hours instead of 3 hours to send it back to me. They may not be 100% happy with me about that one, but there's not any huge dialogue except for the main character, who ended up with 12 lines. Whoops. But that's life. Anyhow, I'm gonna reach back, but right now I gotta do some storyboarding and start planning out the first shots, so I can hopefully get started before noon when the actors get back to me, because there's going to be some scenes where it's just simply stuff's happening, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen with actors actually like lined up with the audio, like voiceover shots and some other stuff where it's just like whatever. So I'm going to go and do that right now, and yeah, hopefully things are going to work out. So you might be wondering why we're now here in the back basement corner, or whatever it is, the mechanical room, when I'm trying to do Lego. So mainly it's because I realized that I have 2 scenes that actually require wire. Yeah, I know anyone watching this right now is like, oh man, dude, you're getting yourself into a lot of hot water. But they need to be doing stuff. So one scene I could probably get away without it, but one scene I do need some wire in the shot to have the object basically take off. So I'm going to do that. Just picking up this wire, hoping it's good, and seeing if there's anything else back here that might work even better. But I don't think so. Alright. back to storyboarding. Okay, so as you can see here, scene 1 is done. I basically went and took the audio, chopped it up, put it into the timeline, tried to figure out sort of the in and out points, and then I went and did the animation, and then I went through and tweaked everything so it kind of matched. I'm very happy with this scene considering it's sort of my first scene of the movie, and really my big first scene I've ever actually done. Yes, this is the first time I'm making a brick film for THAC or anything other than the little test walks I did and a couple of little tests I did for lighting. But yeah, so this is my first official big giant scene. I am super happy, but it is currently just 4 minutes to 2, so I am behind schedule horribly, so I'm gonna have to kick it up a notch. But as you can see here, the day has not gone as I'd hoped. I'd hoped to get a couple scenes here, but I ended up spending more time on the script and storyboarding than expected. Fortunately, everyone got in their audio very quickly, so I managed to meet this checkpoint. So that's good. So I'm working through here. I'm thinking 1 scene an hour might be the speed I'm going, which means I might be here quite late tonight. But we'll see how we're going. So I got the classroom scene. I'm now doing the reporter scene. I'm going to use basically the same set with some minor alterations, so it does look a little bit different. Okay, so it's now 4:30, and I've got another scene done. Yes, 2 scenes. These are a little bit more complicated. They had multiple people moving and stuff. I'm hoping to go a little bit faster. I'm hoping to get 1 more scene done before I've got about 45 minutes as the sun goes down, because I have drapes and stuff. That'll affect obviously the lighting, and then I'm going to get into darkness, which is actually good because most of this movie actually happens on the surface of the moon. So I've been more or less doing the internal shots, all the complicated stuff that's, has a set, and then once the sun's down, I've only got like a little tiny light, and I'll be shooting the moon scenes, but they're very controlled lighting, a lot of darkness with like 1 or 2 characters, so therefore those should go relatively quickly because I don't have to deal with all the shenanigans with lighting and fixing all that stuff and whatever, despite the fact that in 1 scene I did bump the set about 4 times, but I don't have time to redo it. That's the nature of THAC. It's 24 hours, so this will not be the greatest masterpiece you'll ever see, but for my first brick film, I will be doing pretty good. So we're on schedule, other than the fact that we're horribly behind schedule, but I think it's still doable, although I may cut 1 or 2 little sections out to make it happen, but I knew that when I wrote the script that might happen, so let's get back to it and hopefully get this done before the sun dies. Okay, so it's 7 p.m. and I've stopped for dinner. Still behind, but I think I'm going to catch up because I've done all the indoor crazy scenes and all that stuff. Now I just have the moon scene, which is basically 1, maybe 2 sets left, and they're basically minimal. So I'm just going to have to set for that up and then shoot as many scenes as I can on that, and then hopefully I will catch up on my timeline. But right now, dinner. So, welcome to the surface of the moon, a bit of a change of perspective. So actually, a lot of my movie actually occurs here on the moon. So I have this front panel here, I have a back panel, which if we just rotate it ever so slightly here, you can sort of see here it's got this ridge, there's a little flag here with the green thing on the top, yeah, yellow and green. Might not be as visible as I like, but that's where it is. And basically, this is, as I said, about half of the movie is on this set, or some semblance of it. I'm just trying to finish up the last little bit, and we're good to go. I got to switch over this green screen to blue to give that sort of bluey night feel for, space rather than green.
And yeah, I'm gonna film this. It's currently 9 o'clock. I'm a little bit behind schedule. That seems to be the theme of today. But this section here, I think I'm recording something like, oh, what is it? Something like 22 seconds in a single scene. So we'll see how that goes. If I get that done, that's a major jump forward, and I will be able to be back on track if I can get that done by 10, and then the rest I will work on as fast as possible to get it finished. But basically, this is the set here. This little space guy here, he needs to go, or she, I guess it's a her. Yeah, it's a her. She needs to go into space, black screen, blue screen. I'll work on that, and hopefully that'll work well, and I'll get this all shot really quickly. Okay, so it's now 1 o'clock in the morning. This was sort of my emergency cutoff time where I'm going to say, all right, how far am I done? What do I need to get done? Just bare minimum, get it finished, etc., etc., etc. And I've gotten to the point of where I'm using basically photos or whatnot to sort of finish this up. I have a little bit of animation here or there, like a second or 2 seconds, but basically I'm just trying to knock everything off with the least number of frames per second I think I can get away with in order to get this finished. One of the biggest problems I ran into earlier in the evening was when I started, I actually was animating at 24 frames a second instead of 12, so I have a couple scenes that were like just way longer than I expected because I wasn't I'm putting everything into a 24 timeline, so it's 12 with 2s, but I was actually doing 12 with 24 with 1, so whoopsies. So that's what I found out was one of my big problems. So once I figured that out, I've been going a lot faster. Obviously, scene changes take time, so I've been working on that. Definitely something I'm learning, especially for a 24-hour channel. Don't make a 3.5 page script. Way too much dialogue, way too much action, way too much everything right now. But I'm getting it done, and it looks pretty good. There's some things I'm not happy with, especially some of the stuff at the starting. I was just having some technical problems, but overall I think I'm getting pretty close to the end here, and I got like most of the script is pink. Pink means it's done. It's done. I also have here, I got this page here. This page is done. You can see the whole pink line right there, except for the very start, which I have to finish. That's gonna be the last thing I'm doing. It's the space stuff. I'm gonna do all those little scenes at the end because at that point I'm taking a picture for the credits and I'm calling it a day. So that's what I'm up to. Yeah, I need one more scene for the general. I have a whole section where Sam's supposed to be sleeping all over the place. We'll see if I get it done. As I said, it's 1 o'clock, so I'm trying to get everything I need done. That's an extra scene I don't actually need, but I might sneak it in if I have it, because everything is pretty much edited and on the timeline. Like if I switch it around, you can sort of see here I've got like 1 or 2 gaps here I've actually filmed. I'm just putting them in there, but like for most of the movie, you know, the segments are all there. It's just a matter of fix this little gap here, and this is like 1 or 2 seconds, and then slide them all together, and I'm good to go. So I've made a lot of progress, but I'm still thinking it's going to take me an hour or 2 to do the sound, correct all the audio stuff for the different people talking, not the end of the world, and then add in some music and some sound effects, which I hopefully have somewhere. I'm using artlist.io for music because I have a license, but sound effects, I think I have some sound effects. I'm just hoping I have something that can use as a laser gun or something. I think that's the main one I have. I know there's supposed to be like a lot of walking sounds and stuff, but we'll see if I can get those in. I realize sound design is very important, but at the same time I'm like, if there's going to be a hit, it's going to be in sound, unfortunately. Just the nature of the game. Alright. So it's 2 a.m. in the morning. I've just finished filming, and yeah, this is the Lego disaster. That's the last scene I needed with the little astronaut in it, but you can see here the table's just been, everything's been taken apart and put back together like 30 times. All my nice little bags that I had of, you know, specific things are, you know, at a loss. It's just all over the table, and tomorrow morning I'm gonna have to look at getting this all cleaned up, because right now I got to finish editing. So most of it's edited. I just have to put the last 2 scenes in and start working on the audio. Alright, so it's 3:30 in the morning. The movie is basically put together. It has a runtime of 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and I've gone through, corrected all the audio and everything else like that. Didn't take too long. Added in probably the saddest credits I've ever done, but I could probably spend another hour or 2 making like really nice credits, but like at this point, do I really want to start getting that fancy? I might do it. We'll see. We'll have to watch the movie to find out. But beyond that, what am I at right now? On the list of things, I need to find a rover sound, something for the rover when it's driving around, and when it's doing its little drill thing. And I need to find a walking sound, like for when they're walking around. I'm not sure I really want to throw in walking sounds. I know that's sort of a normal thing, but there's a certain point where you're like, I don't really have a clean walk cycle, so I don't really want to pull a lot of attention to, hey, watch these people walk, and hear or whatever. So I think I'll kick out the walk cycle now. Just focus on the rover. The rover is a pretty easy one, because again, they're in space. You don't really hear anything in space. I'm gonna go with that. I do have a little bit of a, I'm gonna say a late night snack, or I guess early morning at this point. I'm gonna eat, take a few minute break, figure out this, I guess the rover sounds the last thing I have to figure out. And then yeah, I'm going to submit it and be like, look at me, I actually finished my first my first brick film in 24 hours, like a crazy person. I definitely have some lessons learned, which I'm going to jump into next. Probably give you those tomorrow, because yeah, this is nuts. Okay, so it is 4 o'clock in the morning, and the video is rendering. Woohoo! And I'm uploading it. Hopefully my upload speed does not tank. I still have about 3 hours to upload, but internet can be kind of dodgy out here in the rural areas, so hopefully it will not get me. And apparently also I have one guy who's messaging me who needs a quick line, so I'm going to do that while it's uploading, because I can just record it and then upload it afterwards. So there we go, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 hours until the deadline. Woo woo, here we go. Alright, 4:39. Probably like 4:35, but 4:39 because that's when I'm recording this. And I'm submitted. It's done. I'm waiting for the email to say yes, they received it, but otherwise it's finished, it's done, it's kaput. It has a 2.5 minute runtime, which was probably like a minute and a half more than it needed to be. I probably should have come with something smaller, but I managed to get the whole script in here, except for I think the last scene where the general comes along and like bops the reporter. I left that out. I was like, no, that's gonna be a hard one for people to explain, but like, why did that happen? So sorry Richard, I killed one of your lines. Other than that, everything else got in there, I think, or at least it did. It's a complete film. We're going with that. I'm so tired it's not funny. Waiting for the email, I hope it's in the email. But yeah, alright, so I guess at this point I'm gonna get some sleep after this magical email comes in that says, yay, they got it. And yeah, I'm gonna now cover the 5 things. I'm gonna write them down. I'm gonna come up with 5 things. There was a lot of stuff that went wrong, but I'm gonna come up with the 5 big things I did that I think anyone making a brick film for the first time, or if you happen to be a brick filmer and you're doing THAC for the first time, which is 24 hours, things that you kind of need to know that I think would have been useful if I had known them a little bit more beforehand. Anyhow, other than that, I'm rambling like an idiot because I am super tired. And yeah. Put everyone to sleep. Alright, that's it. See you tomorrow with the 5 things I wish I knew or should have maybe had better control over it. Okay, so it's the next day, and I want to talk to you about my top 5 tips for basically doing THAC or any sort of brick filming contest, or probably brick filming in general, that I learned doing THAC, the 24-hour... I don't know what it stands for. I'm still pretty tired. But we're going to go through these 5 tips. So tip number 1 is buy more Lego. And specifically buying more Lego is if you're new to brick filming or you're looking at doing like THAC or some other challenges, make your sets in advance. And in order to do that, you need to have a lot of Lego, so you have each set set up. I just had this one set that was gifted to me over Christmas, and I went and rummaged through some old Lego that I had way back when, and ended up finding basically a bunch of like gray bricks that I pretty much use for everything. And I say Lego when actually that's not even Lego. I think it's like macro blocks or mega blocks, or anyway, some weird off-brand, you know, not really Lego. And so therefore I would definitely say buy more Lego. My second recommendation is make sure you have a bunch of colors for Lego for the mod bricks, and basically I would say sort your Lego out. Obviously with the limited amount of Lego I had, I didn't have to sort that much, but if I had more Lego, more sets, I would have like a sorting of the different colors so that when the mod brick came out, I'd have a lot of different options. I was actually very limited on green and somewhat limited on yellow in terms of the bricks that I actually had. The third recommendation I have is make sure you have food ready, or somebody who's going to make it up for you if you happen to be that lucky. The reason for this is because food prep, you need to make sure you're drinking your water, you need to make sure you're eating, you're not drinking too much caffeine, you're not drinking enough caffeine or coffee or whatever that you normally do. It is a 24-hour festival. You are going to probably need to be pulling an all-nighter or some weird night-day shift depending on what time zone you are. It's good to have food ready because you want to be able to take breaks, sit down and eat, but you want to make sure that you're actually eating quality food, not just junk food, not just popcorn, chips, etc., because that's going to make you feel like garbage the next day. My fourth recommendation is keep it simple. My film ended up being almost 2.5 minutes long. That was just bonkers for a 24-hour film festival. I'm not surprised if I'm one of the longer brick films out for this thing. Keep it short, keep it simple, minimize it, get your voice actors in advance, but like, you know, really narrow it down so that you're able to focus on really high quality animation rather than quantity of animation, because I went probably a little too much quantity and not enough quality. And my final suggestion is, and this is something I did and I found it worked pretty well, is edit as you go. In other words, you know, when you're filming a scene, make sure it matches up with the audio, get it finished in the can, and then move on to the next one. I know that sounds a little weird because normally people will film, audio, you know, sound effects, etc. But I generally found that just doing each scene and then going back at the end and just quickly going over it was a very effective strategy for brick filming, because I was able to find out when I was making mistakes early on rather than finding out later. Because one of the things I was planning to do was I was filming it as a 24 frames per second on 2s, or 12 frames per second. However, that's not actually what I ended up doing. The first 3 scenes I filmed at 24 frames per second because I had miscalculated how many frames I needed for the audio dialogue, and had I not actually gone and edited them and realized that they were twice as long as I needed and I could shrink them down, I would have continued to film at 24 frames a second the entire thing and probably would not have finished. Fortunately, I was able to realize my mistake, adjust, and when I got to a lot of the lunar scenes and space scenes, etc., I was actually filming them at the proper 12 frames a second. And I'll give you a little hint, I also filmed some of them at 8 frames a second, and a couple of them I just used static photos. I was really running out of time and getting very tired by 4 a.m. So, those are my 5 suggestions. I'm sure
They may or may not apply to you. You may be like, wow, that's amazing. Or you may be like, oh yeah, I kind of do that, newbie. But that's what I learned making my first brick film in 24 hours. And if you do, check it out. Zoop, I'll put it up here. Hopefully it's on this side. Hopefully it's on this side. Definitely check it out. It's only about 2.5 minutes long. And thanks for watching, and brick on. Brick on. I don't know what the cool brick filming saying is. Whatever. Click the video, watch the video, see what I did. Masterpiece and disaster all in one.